It's over now. It's over now. I feel like I can make it. The storm is over now.
No more cloudy days. They're all gone away. I feel like I can make it. The storm is over now. Can you help me say? No more cloudy days. They're all gone. They're all gone away.
I feel like I can make
The storm is.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on? Who that nation? It is your truly Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Shouts out to everybody out there. Man, much love to you, man. Much love to you. Much love to you. Man, my goodness, what a day. What a day, Who That Nation. What a day, what a day, what a day to be a Saints fan. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the day. This is the day. This is the day. I will rejoice. I will rejoice and be glad in it. If you have not heard, you probably been asleep all day. But if you haven't heard, the Saints have fired head coach Dennis Allen. I'm going to say that again. The New Orleans Saints have fired head coach Dennis Allen. Whoo, boy, this is, man. Look, I know people want to sit up here and pretend like this is somber for them and all this and talk about Dennis Allen. Look, we know Dennis Allen over his time with the New Orleans Saints. He was a good defensive coordinator. He brought defensive legitimacy to the New Orleans Saints when Rob Ryan was fumbling all over the defense and they couldn't stop a nosebleed. Dennis Allen came in and he solidified defense, made them credible, made them one of the catalysts of the team from 2017 until, unfortunately, this season. So for that, we'll give him a round of applause. But after that, all I got to say is it's been a long time coming. As a head coach, Dennis Allen has fumbled all over himself. Ladies and gentlemen, this was long overdue. This was long overdue. This was long overdue. I'm not going to pretend like this shouldn't have happened because it should have. The New Orleans Saints had to let go of Dennis Allen. I was at the game yesterday. That's right. If you're watching this on a Monday, I was at the Carolina Panthers game. Shouts out to my wife, brought me the tickets. And I really do appreciate it. That's why I love her. She gave me tickets to go to the game. I'm talking about, man, I was so close. I can see everything that was going on. I was in the 100, right? You know what I'm saying? I was on the side where the family members were walking up the stairs. I'm looking at Bryce Young family members. I'm looking at, I'm looking at all these different players, family members coming up the stairs and how excited they are. And I must say this. before I get into this, because we got plenty of time to talk about Dennis Allen, I got to give credit to the Carolina Panthers fans because I did not expect that type of turnout for a team that was 1-7. They showed up out there to rep their team. For that, I give them respect. But I also give them respect for doing God's work because we know that this would not have happened. It would not have been possible except it had to be done, and it would not have been done if it wasn't for that 5'10", 180-pound soaking wet quarterback named Bryce Young. Bryce Young will always have a special place in my heart for doing God's work. That boy right there got a future. He's a legend in my book. I don't care if he don't do anything else of any significance in the National Football League. Bryce Young is a legend in my book because he did what needed to be done, and that is show that the New Orleans Saints front office, led by Mickey Loomis, was fumbling all over this, and it would not have happened because he would have continued to find excuses to keep Dennis Allen around. And Bryce Young went out there and facilitated a game-winning drive. And Derek Carr did what Derek Carr does, which is not be very good at a quarterback position. But they fired him because they lost to the worst team in football, and you couldn't justify it. If they would have kept Dennis Allen as the head coach of the football team, I know for a fact that New Orleans Saints fans would have checked out. They would have checked out. It's just that plain and simple. Nobody wanted to see Dennis Allen on the sidelines. Nobody wanted to see him walking and lurking the sidelines, looking befuddled, looking lost like a deer in headlights. And nobody wanted to see a coach where players were happy that he got fired. I know y'all seen on social media Carl Granderson smiling as he's walking into the facility because he knows that the guy that had been holding him back and holding the team back is fired. And look, all these people, man, you speculating, TJ. You speculating. No, I am not speculating. Go and look at the energy of those players after the news came out that homeboy got fired. I mean, you had Foster Moreau up in there turning a press conference into a comedy hour. This man up here cracking jokes, and this man got fired. And I if you don't believe me, here's a little bit of a clip of Foster Moreau at the press conference today talking a little bit about head coach Dennis Allen being canned. Now, he did say that people that's rejoicing and happy about this situation, well, shame on you. I'm sorry, Foster. I'm not ashamed.
But in terms of accountability, I feel personally responsible 100% every day. If you come into work and you see and you find joy in your head coach getting fired, shame on you. I can't say the same for a fan. I know we have a bit of a split fan base in that regard. I understand that. I'm in enough group text. I'm from this city. I see it on social media. I should probably stay off it. It's a shame because I'm going to be honest. Dennis Allen came in here every single day. He was accountable. He worked his ass off. He led players. He did everything that he could. And in the end, results weren't there. And so something had to be done. I love DA. I think he was a good dude, a good defensive play caller. I appreciated the work that he put in. But we're going a different direction, obviously. And I understand that. And if I was in that role, I would expect the same thing. I'm not going to answer that question.
So as you can see, the question was asked at the end. I don't know if y'all heard it, but he asked how surprised, one of the reporters asked, how surprised was he that Dennis Allen got fired? And he said, I'm not going to answer that. And do you know why? Because these guys knew what was about to happen. Because Gayle Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints, had a meeting off the record with a couple of leaders on the team and talking to them and trying to get the pulse of the team and seeing what the issue was for a 6-game losing streak. And I guess they must have came to the conclusion that Dennis Allen was the culprit behind it. And this came from the tippy top. This came from Gayle Benson herself to get this man out of the door. So I will give a true round of applause to Miss Gayle Benson. Good job. Good job right there. Because it seems to me that a lot of us, including myself, don't really understand how Gayle Benson utilized her power because she's not really in the limelight. She doesn't really do interviews. A lot of how she feels and what goes on with the team comes from Mickey Loomis. And a lot of people just feel like, she's up in a clock tower, just, minding her own business and just, just oblivious to what is going on. So for that, I want to say good job, Gayle Benson, because this is one of those situations where she had to go and do something. Like this was one of those times where if you don't look the part, you have got to look the part. And she definitely did that. And you can tell that this came from her because there was a letter that was sent out, and I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen. Let me go ahead and put that up on the screen so we can go ahead and read that. And it talks a little bit about, the letter and what it tells about the firing of head coach Dennis Allen. Now it says the New Orleans Saints announced today that head coach Dennis Allen has been relieved of his duties. Special teams coordinator Darren Rizzy has been named interim head coach. Allen was named the head coach of the New Orleans Saints on February 8, 2022. He became the 17th head coach in the franchise's history. I want to make sure. All right. Sometimes I don't know if my mic on, and I had to check for that. It says Dennis has been part of our organization for many years. He is highly regarded within the NFL. He has been extremely loyal and professional, and most importantly, an excellent football coach for us. All of this makes today very tough for me and our organization, says owner Gayle Benson. However, this decision is something that I felt we needed to make at this time. I wish nothing but the best in the future for Dennis and his family. He will always be considered in the highest regard by me and everyone within our organization. And here it is right here. Here's the love letter between Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis. DA was an excellent football coach, says Executive Vice President and General Manager Mickey Loomis. This season, we have had an avalanche of injuries. It took a toll. DA has never offered excuses. He fought each day for the organization and the team, and that what makes today very disappointing. Dennis has been an integral part of this organization's success for the better part of 20 years. He will be missed. The organization did not announce any other coaching changes. So that comes from the New Orleans Saints, the news release right now. So it seems like Gayle Benson wanted to do this and Mickey Loomis didn't. And this is a good sign because Mickey Loomis has been screwing up the Saints organization for I don't know how long. I don't know what's going on with this dude. I don't know what possesses him to believe that he is the main reason why the Saints have had success and why they've been one of the most talked about and one of the most formidable teams over the last almost 20 years. But he has absolutely nothing to do with it. And the more we as years go by, I should say, the more we see that this guy was basically being covered up by Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And for that, I don't feel like Gayle Benson should just stop with Dennis Allen. I feel like she needs to relieve Mickey Loomis of his general manager duty. Now, you can't really do anything about him being executive vice president. That was left in the will of your husband. So there's nothing really you can do about that. But you for damn sure can take away this dude responsibilities so he can get away from screwing up this football team. The New Orleans Saints have got to change things around. The New Orleans Saints have got to get away from old customs. The New Orleans Saints got to get this fool up out of the general manager boot and make sure that he doesn't touch anything or press any buttons to make the whole thing explode. Because if you fire Dennis Allen, which you should have done, and you allow Mickey Loomis to try again, he's going to bring somebody in that have that same type of mind frame, that has that same philosophy, and we're going to be in the same position again. I do not want Mickey Loomis being the sole selector of the next head coach of the football team. I don't want him to be the final say-so of who they select as the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints, because Mickey Loomis has shown that he don't know what the hell he's doing. The guy does not know what he's doing. What he did was he found Sean Payton and he found Drew Brees, and they were able to mask every mistake that he's made, from the fumbling of the salary cap, from bringing in guys that weren't very good. Drew Brees was able to get the best out of him. Sean Payton was able to coach the hell out of him. And the next thing you know, you had success no matter what you put out on the field. We seen Drew Brees throw 4 touchdowns in one game to 4 undrafted guys. You're not going to find too many quarterbacks that can do that. We seen Sean Payton go out there with Trevor Siemian and win football games. So as far as I'm concerned, ladies and gentlemen, those two guys are the reason why you say who that so loud and proud has absolutely nothing to do with Mickey Loomis. You just so happen to go into the corner store and have a quick pick and won the lottery in the process. You didn't pick your own numbers, dude. You didn't pick your own numbers. But at the end of the day, get this dude up out of here so we don't have this same situation going on again. All right. But you had some players that were kind of upset, disappointed, and, Dennis Allen being fired. They take some levels of responsibility for that. And one of those players was Tyrann Mathieu. And Tyrann Mathieu understands what the city of New Orleans, and what how they feel about the New Orleans Saints. It's a love affair. And he knows, firsthand, because he's from the city. And Tyrann Mathieu talked a little bit about the pulse of the city and how fans may feel after this very, very disappointing season, especially losing 7 straight games, something they haven't done since 1999.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Man, this city doesn't have a whole lot to offer, this state, and I think sports is a big deal. I think people, work hard all week. They slave, they minimum wage, just to get to Sunday to see us, and for that to kind of be the highlight, of the week. And I tell that story all the time as a kid growing up, right? Get through the whole week, and then we was always looking forward to Sunday because we knew the Saints was playing, and we knew we could go get some food. Like somebody in the neighborhood was watching the game. They was throwing like a Saints party. And so I can absolutely feel, their frustration. We make a lot of money, man, playing a game, and those people, man, they work hard to be a part of it, to buy tickets and to buy jerseys and, just be invested in us, right? And so when we win, we all feel good. And I think when we lose, we all feel bad. And that goes for our fans too. And, it just hasn't been, really the product that they've kind of been used to, since 2006. And so, yeah, man, I mean, this is kind of like a part of the story that, you want to make sure that, you finish it the right way, you do it the right way. But yeah, I can totally understand people's frustration. Like we look forward to the Saints brightening our week. You know what I mean? We look forward to LSU, brightening our week. And we totally, just dropped the ball, in that regard.
This is a man that understands it. He gets it. And, most players, they kind of can give that lip service, they can say those things, but you can tell this is coming from an emotional place because he's from the city. I mean, he understands that, man. He went to St. Aug High School. He went to LSU. Now he's playing for the hometown team. So he knows what the team means to the city of New Orleans, and they just want to win him. And Dennis Allen just was not a winner. He just was not. Like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand this. And a part of me, even though today I feel like this was the right decision, it needed to be done. But a part of me just, I'm still very angry because this is something that should have been done like last year. Like, we shouldn't even be in this situation right now. If Mickey Loomis wouldn't have been in love with Dennis Allen, like, I don't understand. Like, we wouldn't even be in this position. We would not be in this position right now. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get what the fascination was with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen has never won anything as a head coach. He doesn't inspire you in any type of way. The energy level that he has resembles that of going to a funeral on Friday or Saturday afternoon. I mean, the dude has no spunk, no pizzazz, no energy, nothing you can get behind. Like as a fan, like, you know, I can remember Saints fans wanting to jump up out of the stands when somebody said something, or a referee did something, and Sean started barking back at the referees. Like he became like our guy. Like Dennis Allen never was that. Like Dennis Allen never was the city's guy. I say that all the time. I don't even think Dennis Allen liked New Orleans Saints fans. Like I don't. He never embraced them. You never got the indication that he was actually coaching for them. You never seen him really challenge the fan base. You never seen him do anything. Like I don't understand it. Like me being from the city, I understand. As a coach, as a player, we want you to embrace us. You know, like if you embrace the city, it will embrace you. You will never have to worry about anything. I guarantee you right now, it can be 3:00 in the morning and Drew Brees can be walking down a dark alley and somebody can be mugging somebody and they'll stop mugging him like, go ahead, Drew, go ahead, man. I'm just out here trying to get a little change. They're not going to touch him because they become deities. If you don't even have to throw for 80,000 yards. You ain't even got to do that. All you got to do is just do something memorable or show some level of loyalty to the city and it will love you back. Dennis Allen never did that for the city at all. Not one time on this 7-game losing streak. I'll say 6 because 7, he didn't get a chance to really talk to the fans. What he did after Carolina. I never really seen him go to the podium with any type of enthusiasm, apologizing to the fans for fumbling all over themselves. I never seen that. I never seen him challenge the fans like, we need y'all to come out. We really need y'all for this game. You don't never see any of that. So for me, this is very, very easy. He just never connected with the city. He just never did. Dennis Allen never connected with the city. I seen reporters say that he carried himself with professionalism. That's great. That's wonderful. Never said that he was a bad person. All I'm saying is he never went out his way to try to connect with the city. And that was his first mistake. So that's the reason why people are getting ready to have second lines. Probably having one as we speak. Somebody putting a barbecue rib on the grill right now, celebrating this dude's demise because he was never our guy. Like seriously, Dennis Allen was never, ever New Orleans Saints guy. At all. Like, yeah, he coached the heck out of some defense, but I can't remember anything that he did that just really stood out besides the fact of him going back and forth with Brandon Brown in one game. I don't. He was never the city's guy. So for me, I feel like it was easy for Saints fans to just dismiss this dude. You're apologizing to Falcon fans. You're apologizing to Falcon coaches. Like stuff like that just makes people just tune out. And like I said, you combine the fact that you can't really get any type of enthusiasm out of it or get anything that you can actually, get behind. It was easy. The only person that really just stood by him was Mickey Loomis. And like I said, I don't understand the fascination with that. I don't. And you can tell, like, even in his presser, it seemed like he was mad that the team decided, or the organization decided, to part ways with Dennis Allen, calling him an excellent coach. Excellent coach in what? And notice with Foster Moreau, when he said he's a really good defensive coach, he never said a really good head coach. In the words of the show Survivor, when somebody gets eliminated, the tribe is spoken. It's spoken. They already said they don't want this dude, and that's the reason why he ain't there. We heard Alvin Kamara say, you got confident dudes in the locker room. They may not be confident in something, might not be confident in something else. Quote. That comes from Alvin Kamara. So it seemed like to me, Mickey Loomis is mad that these guys didn't back this guy. Dude was a loser. Not as a human being, but as a coach, he was a loser. I mean, am I missing something? 26 and 53. He had a .329 winning percentage. The guy hasn't won in any place. He is below 500 in both stops. The guy, every time he coaches, history is being made, and not in a positive way. The New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers, they had more total yards. Like they had more, like over 150 more total yards than the Carolina Panthers. They won the turnover battle. I mean, every statistical category would tell you, like, if you just didn't watch the game at all the statistics would tell you that the Saints won the football game. Over 275 times this scenario has taken place. And only one time has a team lost, and that was on Sunday. The Saints continuously put up good total yards, positive things on the field, winning turnover battles, and they still lose. More total yards, more rushing yards, more passing yards, turnover battle, lose. Against the Atlanta Falcons, didn't allow an offensive touch. Didn't allow a touchdown to the offense in the Atlanta Falcon game the first time they played them and lost. And we sitting up here with a letter quoted by Mickey Loomis talking about he an excellent football coach. I'm just wondering, man. Seriously, what the heck is really going on here? What the heck is really going on here? I'll just leave it at that. I just want to know what the heck is really going on, because that just doesn't make sense. What would make you want to, like, basically sabotage your own career and your own credibility to save a guy who has never won anything ever as a head coach? Like, those dudes was, like, legitimately happy. Like, Foster Moreau was cracking jokes in a press conference. Like, it didn't sound too somber or anything like that, like when he was talking. Sound like to me like them dudes relieved. It's like they relieved that this dude is gone. Now they feel like, man, now we can turn up. Now we can ball out. Now we can, now we can really hunt out here in these streets. That would have seemed like to me. I'm sorry, man. I know, I ain't lobbying for nobody to lose their job unless they deserve to lose their job. Plain and simple. Me talking about Dennis Allen needing to lose his job ain't gonna make them fire him any quicker, as we all can see. If you're not doing the job, if you're not doing it to the best of your ability, then guess what? You deserve to get fired. Plain and simple. But I forgot to mention that the State of the Saints podcast is powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit and up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Download the BETUS app or go to the website and use the promo code YouTube150. I want to acknowledge some of the donations here. Josh, thank you very much for the $2. Says, I'm in tears over the loss of DA. Do you believe me? No, I do not. We are 89 million above cap for next season, which is crazy. Let's see. Was so happy DA got fired, but I didn't dance naked in my front yard, says Barbara. Thank you very much for the $5. Look, nobody's shedding a tear out here except for Mickey Loomis about this. For real. Nobody is. But for the final time, ladies and gentlemen, it's a song that we all love. It's very, very near and dear in my heart. And since, Dennis Allen has been fired by the New Orleans Saints, I just thought that it would be, only right that we send this guy off right. We sent him off right. And this is a song that kind of started it all. And if you know the song, sing along.
Let me tell you a story about a coach with an 8-28 record. He had an opportunity to change the way the NFL world would look at him forever. But listen.
Sean Payton decided to
what they're talking about.
Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen, why are they talking about him, baby?
I don't care what you did to them Raiders, just because of my team.
He wasn't doing it for the Raiders.
Ooh. Now it's been about 7 weeks
It's been that long?
into the season,
Man, I guess it has, man. But what's been going on?
and the same thing he did to them, he did to me.
You gotta be kidding me.
Ooh, I'm screwed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We ain't got to hear it no more, ladies and gentlemen. It's an end of an era. It is an end of an era, ladies and gentlemen. But that is the story of Dennis Allen. That's the story of Dennis Allen, man. Close, but no cigars. Well, not even close. But let me go ahead and read some of these comments. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments. And we'll go ahead and go from there. Says talking all that stuff, but Gayle will pull the trigger. They be sleeping on her. They be sleeping on her. Says Joe. Yeah, I mean, look, this wasn't one of those times where you can just kind of, just be behind the scenes. Like like Kendrick said, sometimes you got to pop out and show them. Sometimes you have, like I know DA said that after the second win against the Cowboys, but yeah, sometimes you really got to pop out and show them, man. Got to let them know. And she definitely let them know who was boss there, man. And look, I'm not looking for her to stop there because I don't feel like, look, I say it like this, man. When we're looking at the issues with the New Orleans Saints, right? I don't look at, I look at Mickey Loomis as the disease, okay? I just look at Dennis Allen as the symptom of said disease. Like, I just think that Mickey Loomis needs to get up out of there. Mickey Loomis needs to go. It's just that plain and simple. I'm tired of this. Like, seriously, you are not going to get the change. Like, this right here is great. It's wonderful. The fact that you acknowledge the fact that you need to go in a different direction, but it means absolutely nothing if you continue to have Mickey Loomis up in there messing up the money. Seriously. Like, you can't have this dude up in here no more, man. The Saints need to go out here, find football guys to run football operations. I'm going to say that again. The Saints need to go out here to find football guys and ladies that understand football operations, plain and simple. Plain and simple. Stop messing around with Mickey Loomis, man, kicking a can down the road, and stop messing around with Jeff Ireland, who haven't had a real true draft since 2017. You have some clowns on social media. Yes, I'm going to call you that because for people that cannot acknowledge what is actually in their faces, you got to be a clown. It got to be Barnum and Bailey. It got to be Universe Soul Circus you're working for, because ain't nobody in their right minds going to see guys continue to be busts, continue to fall short, and sit up here and say, oh, Jeff Ireland can get the job done. No, he cannot. No, he cannot. I told y'all, man, like, to me, Jeff Ireland is Sir Mix-a-Lot. You remember Sir Mix-a-Lot? He made Baby Got Back. That was a hot hit at the time when he was out. He's a one-hit wonder. Mambo number 5. Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca. He is a one-hit wonder, and we still jamming to it, right? Upside, inside out, living La Vida Loca. We still singing that joint like it just came out last week. The reality is, dude ain't really been hitting them out the park. And when you are in cap hell like the New Orleans Saints are right now, you got to make sure that you are hitting them out of the park more so than striking out. It just comes with the territory. Your chances of doing what you did in 2017 are like slim to none. But you got to make sure that you are hitting more than you are missing. And messing around with Jeff Ireland is just there because they like him. Too much, oh, I like this guy, I want him to succeed, I believe in him going on. You can believe in anything that you want to believe in. But if they don't have the capabilities of doing what you need them to do, then guess what? You got to adjust accordingly. Too many emotional heartstrings are being played in the deciding factor of guys' fate with the New Orleans Saints. And that is the issue. That is why the New Orleans Saints are in the predicament that they're in. And I'm sick of it. Like, I am absolutely sick of it. And I know you're sick of it too. I don't mind a team struggling to try to figure it out, but they're trying. But when a team just refuses to get out of their own way and they're just being lazy because what they did 10, 15 years ago showed that it worked, and you still trying to run your operation the same way as 10 and 15 years, guess what? Just like every other business, you know what? Look, the New Orleans Saints, to me, it reminds me of Blockbuster Video. Who remember Blockbuster Video? I know I did. I used to roll the Blockbuster Video. Shouts out to my big brother EJ. Shouts out to his best friend, my guy Drum, Big Drum. Drum used to come over in his mom's van, and we used to hop in the van, go over there to off of Legion Fields and Gentilla Boulevard to the Blockbuster Video. Just sit up in there, man. Walk around, look at the VHS tapes, crack jokes, hang out with the crew, all that stuff right there, right? That's not the whole point. I just wanted to give y'all that story just to let y'all know how much I like Blockbuster. But the point is, there was a kiosk that used to sit outside of every gas station, 7-Eleven, your Chevrons, right? And you can go there. You can dispense, you can dispense a DVD by just swiping your card, right? And Blockbuster Video looked at that like, that's a really smart idea. How are you going to be able to get the CDs back? How are you going to get the DVDs back, you idiots? And they still ran their organization the same way, had people rolling up to their shops. And the next thing you know, the kiosk was at this gas station. Then all of a sudden, the kiosk was at the mall. And then the next thing you know, the kiosk was, a part on the other side of town, all over the place. And then people realize, hell, I ain't got to roll the Blockbuster Video no more. Let me go up the street and put my money in there, and I can get myself a Netflix movie. And then all of a sudden, Blockbuster Video started to feel the economic punch. They started feeling the economic pinch of what was going on with those kiosks. What was the issue? Who that nation? They didn't adjust. They looked at it and said, y'all not going to get anything done. My idea is better, and it's been working for years. So guess what? I'm going to continue to do things the way that we've been doing them. And guess what? Blockbuster Video, for the exception of maybe one, that the very first one that was ever made, is the only one open right now, ladies and gentlemen. And it's all because Blockbuster Video did not adjust. You got to be able to adjust with the times. You got to be able to see what works. You cannot just live in your echo chamber with your hands in your ears and your eyes closed and saying that my way is the best way when you're seeing that the world is changing. You're still trying to run the same mom and pop operations like it's been ran in 1980 or 1990 or the early 2000s. It worked at that particular time. But there's a new way of running things. And if you don't conform or you don't change things up, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. And that's what the New Orleans Saints are doing. For the last 5 years, the New Orleans Saints have been trying to do it the Sean Payton way, because Sean Payton was the only thing for the New Orleans Saints, for the most part, that resembled success. So anybody that rubbed up against Sean Payton, talked to Sean Payton, held Sean Payton's playbook, held his juicy fruit, they tried to hire. And Dennis Allen was a Sean Payton guy. So Mickey Loomis tried desperately to make this work, because he knew that the only reason why that he had any level of credibility had a lot to do with Sean Payton. So he wanted to keep that thing going. But now you realize that everybody is not Sean Payton. You can't just get a Sean Payton guy and just think he's going to be Sean Payton. It is time to adjust. It is time to do things differently. I don't want another Sean Payton guy. I don't. Sean Payton and what him and Drew Brees did for the New Orleans Saints, that will forever be embedded in the minds and the hearts of the Who Dat Nation. They brought legitimacy to New Orleans. But guess what? A great coach is built every year, B. Nobody knew who Sean McVay was. But now Sean McVay has become the godfather of all these young, innovative coaches out here. That's the reason why teams are taking chances on guys around my age coaching football teams. You see guys like Lamar Jackson, who has elusivity and be able to throw the ball down the field. Now, what are you seeing? You're seeing teams that are trying to find quarterbacks that can not only throw from the pocket, but be able to move outside of the pocket, be able to extend plays, able to run for first downs. The NFL is changing. And Mickey Loomis, for some apparent reason, doesn't want to change with it. And if he doesn't want to change with it, you got to find somebody that will change with the times. Because regardless to Dennis Allen being fired, once again, if you allow Mickey Loomis to do the same type of practices that he has done over the last couple of years, you're going to find yourself in the same situation again. And we are going to be tortured as New Orleans Saints fans. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If the New Orleans Saints continue to let Mickey Loomis do the same thing he has been done, you're going to get the same exact results. And that is finding some passive-aggressive coach that's too afraid to even stick up for himself and just going to keep the same guys out there just because they're making the same amount of money. Or they making a higher amount of money than maybe another guy that can be able to make some plays. They're not going to be strong enough to be able to say, you know what? I know this guy's making about $10 million a year, but this guy right here, this undrafted guy, he's been playing harder than him. We're going to put him out on the field. And we're not just going to put him out on the field and have him running around like that electric football machine where he just running around in a circle and everybody and their mama know he ain't going to get the football. That's what you need. You think the NFL knew who Cooper Kupp was for the most part when he first got to Los Angeles, or Puka Nacua? Hell no. They ain't know who those guys was. And some people still don't know who they are. I'm probably saying their name. They probably wonder who the hell is Puka Nacua. You know why? Because a star is born every single year. If you have the right coach, they can get the best out of these players. And if the New Orleans Saints don't continue, if they continue to do the same thing, we're going to be in the same situation. And all of this would be for naught. It would be a huge waste of time. T. Riley, thank you very much for the $10. Says, now I can wake up at 3 a.m. and watch the Saints play again. Who that from Japan? T. Riley, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. Much love to you. How you feel about Darren Rizzy, TJ? I think Darren Rizzy, I don't know that much about him, to be honest with you. But from what I hear in that press conference, it's definitely a change in personality, and I can get down with that. I like his energy. I'm not expecting for Darren Rizzy to come up in here and just change the New Orleans Saints. I don't expect for the New Orleans Saints to go 10-7. But the fact that this guy is going to come up in here and there's a different type of energy that I feel like is needed, and I like what I heard in his press conference. I really don't know that much about him. I just know he was the special teams coach. The special teams is the bright part of the New Orleans Saints team. And he is one of the most well-respected special teams coaches in football. And that's a good segue to transition to our next topic, which is Darren Rizzy. Darren Rizzy was named the interim head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and he's excited about the opportunity, but he does understand the situation that he's in. You never want to see a head coach get fired and you have to replace him, and Darren Rizzy understands that.
Obviously a tough day here. Tough day for me, tough day for this profession. It's kind of just gives you the reality of the situation. Dennis did a lot for this organization, and I consider him a close personal friend. So it's obviously a little bit of a tough situation. As I told the team earlier today, we've all had a hand, me included, in where we are right now. And we're all going to have a hand in kind of digging us out of this hole that we're in. So, like I said, this is a day that's a little bit tough. It's a situation I've been through before, a couple different times, and we need to circle the wagons right now. We need everybody on board, and the only way I know how to do it is to fight and work out of it. So that's what we're going to do.
So he said that he understands the situation. He's been through that a couple of times, and He just wants to, do the best that he possibly can. But he also mentioned some changes. I mentioned the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But Darren Rizzy says he's going to take a look and evaluate some things. And, he definitely wants to bring a little bit of change to New Orleans as long as, he's around as the interim coach.
We're going to look at everything. Everything's going to get, as I told the team this morning, everybody and everything is going to get reevaluated and evaluated and reevaluated because right now the product is not acceptable. So everything down from the schedule to how we do things to the active players to the daily schedule, we're going to look at everything. How we practice, all those different things. And so really haven't made any final decisions on all that, but a wise man and the Hall of Fame coach once told me if something's got to change and something's got to change. So we're gonna make some changes. I think we've been doing things around here the same way for a long, long time, and maybe some are good, maybe some aren't. And we can make some changes. So, but there'll be some different things that we do for sure.
So nothing wrong with it, man. Taking advantage of the opportunity, trying to do things your way, and this is a great opportunity for Darren Rizzy. I mean, who knows? I mean, if you do a good enough job, maybe you'll end up being a head coach somewhere. Now, I'm not going to fall into that trap. Like, I know how people do it. They get an interim coach, teams start to fight a little bit, show a little bit more fire, a little bit more energy. And, the next thing you know, like, oh, man, we need to hire him as a coach. Same thing happened with Antonio Pierce last year. Like, Antonio Pierce came in, after they fired Josh McDaniel out there in Las Vegas. He became the interim coach, and those guys start to rally behind him, play hard. They end up shocking the world, knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs, and he ended up becoming the full-time head coach. And now you see that they're struggling right now. So I don't care how well Darren Rizzy does. You go out there and you make sure you're doing your due diligence. Don't just fall in love with the guy because, oh, y'all done won some football games. Go out there, do your homework, and really find the best coach for this football team. You need somebody with some energy. You need somebody that's going to inspire. You need somebody that's going to be a leader of men. Don't get nobody up in here who press conferences sound like I said, sound like a funeral, sound like they don't have no answers to anything, put you halfway to sleep. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that at all. Make sure you find the right guy. If Darren Rizzy ends up being the right guy, then he's the right guy. But make sure that you go out there and you find the best coach that you possibly can for this franchise. We do not want to be in this situation again. I like his energy, like someone said, like asked me about Darren Rizzy. I like his energy. I like the enthusiasm, but I want to make sure that they get the best head coach they possibly can. Like that's what I want. I do not want to be in this situation for, a long time, because this is crazy, because I've done over 1,600 episodes of the State of the Saints podcast, and this is the first episode that I have ever done where we're talking about the Saints firing a head coach. That is unbelievable. Like, if you look at the New Orleans Saints and you look at the rest of the teams in the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints have had a total of 2 coaches, 2 in a 16-year span. Since the time where Sean Payton became the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons have had 6 head coaches. The Carolina Panthers have had 5 head coaches, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had 7 head coaches. And the New Orleans Saints have had 2. And this will be the 3rd head coach they'll have, whoever they decide to be their head coach in 2025. That is freaking unbelievable, man. And it's unbelievable that I have won 1,600 episodes of the State of the Saints podcast, and then this is the first time I'm talking about a coaching change. Well, a coach being fired, not a coaching change. I mean, Sean Payton stepped down. So that's a testament to the New Orleans Saints organization and what they have done, and the process, of finding that legendary head coach. And I know they want to do that again. You talk about them being wanting to be like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they only had a handful of coaches in their history. I want to say Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. Other than that, like, they've had no other coaches. That's insane, right? That's insane that they only had a handful of coaches in their entire history like that, and all of them had won a Super Bowl. But you're not the Steelers, right? The Steelers have 6 Super Bowls. You sitting up here with 1, and they've done a really good job, and everybody just can't be like them. You can aspire to be like somebody, but that doesn't make you them. So you just have to do what you got to do. And hopefully you find a really good coach where you don't have to do this for a long time. But I can tell you this, you better not find somebody that's like Dennis Allen. If you're looking for someone with Dennis Allen qualities, we're going to be in the same situation again. And I'm also going to continue to say it. Mickey Loomis needs to step down. He needs to be removed as general manager of this football team. Plain and simple. Need to find somebody else. Put that person in that spot that understands football. Get yourself a new scouting team, someone that has a track record, some experience with evaluating talent. Like, do something different. Don't just try to do the same thing. It seems like this team sometimes get afraid of change. And this is all I heard like the entire time where they were going for, when they were losing all these games. Oh, the Saints don't operate like that. The Saints don't operate like that. They don't operate like that. That ain't how the Saints operate. That's the problem. That's the problem, man. Like, you can't care that much about optics. This is why I'm excited today. Because for the first time in a long time, I felt like the New Orleans Saints did not care about optics, how things were perceived. Oh, they may look like a dysfunctional organization. Well, what makes you look more dysfunctional? You being oblivious to the fact that your coach is terrible? I mean, or just sitting up there, firing him. What makes you look more competent? Like, this dysfunctional organizations do what the New Orleans Saints have done, holding on to a guy that's not going to be able to prove you right. And in the process, like, I guarantee you, if Mickey Loomis would have cut his losses with Dennis Allen earlier, nobody would have thought twice about it. They were like, man, well, Mickey understands the standard. Mickey understands that, Sean Payton created a legacy, him and Drew Brees, and you don't want nobody to tear it down. That's what people would have understood. But the process, but him prolonging the process, him not, going out here and doing what was right when the signs were like right in front of you, it makes you look incompetent. It makes you look incompetent. That's the reason why, like, people like, man, people was praising Mickey Loomis. People were praising Mickey Loomis. You know why? Because nobody had anything to criticize him about. You had a long tenured coach in Sean Payton, and you hired Dennis Allen, which a part of us kind of understood. Okay, you want to give this guy another chance. Why not? Right? You want to keep the camaraderie. You felt like we were close. Okay, fine. But when you start to see the signs like this guy is, losing football games and only beating low-hanging fruit football teams and couldn't win the big games against elite head coaches, it seemed like, it was like, I don't know, Mike Tyson going up against Glass Joe every time he plays against a coach that knows what he's doing, and you just turn the blind eye. If you would have seen that and said, I don't know, man, maybe we need to go in a different direction, nobody would have said anything. Nobody would have criticized Mickey Loomis. As a matter of fact, they would have gave you credit. But now you held on to this guy so long, now I just realize people just kind of see you for what you are. Stubborn, set in your ways, and arrogant. I mean, going to that press conference chewing on that gun was the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that was one of those moments where I felt like if I was a member of media, this guy felt like he think he better than me. He's smarter than me. Like, that was just mad disrespectful right there. And he sat up there like he was out here cooking, pulled out his little sheet talking about Chuck Noll and Bill Belichick and all those other great coaches and comparing them to Dennis Allen. But between doing that and telling us to look beyond the results, he has made himself look like an absolute, I gotta say it, an absolute fool. An old fool. I don't know him personally, but that's what he looked like. Because he just refused to cut his losses. And that was the most arrogant thing. The most arrogant thing a person can do is not admit their faults, not admit their mistakes. Like that's to me, that what makes you look even more foolish. Sad. It's absolutely sad. But they got to let this guy go because you're going to be in the same spot. I'm going to read a few more and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, folks. It says, Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach, 18 years with the Steelers and never had a losing season. Need a new medical staff. I absolutely agree with that. And I'm going to say this. Like, I could be way out of line for this, but I got to say it. I have got to say it. I think that those dudes would hurt. But I do feel like they didn't try to push the issue to play on certain weeks. I'm just being honest. Like I don't know, man. Like I think that's something that we need to explore. Like I feel like maybe these guys had some issues with injuries, but with more like confidence in a coach, more enthusiasm, more energy that could have been brought to the table. Could those guys have went out there and gave it the old college try? Possibly. Like based on what I have seen in the energy of these football players after this dude got fired, I really honestly feel like them dudes just did not want to play for this guy. And they did not want to go out there and and damage themselves even further for a guy that they know wasn't going to lead them anywhere. I'm not saying that they quit. I really feel like they were hurt, but there's injured and there's hurt. And maybe guys were more injured than hurt, but I'm gonna be hurt today because I don't know about this dude right here. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like it's just weird to me, like how like all those like soft tissue injuries and stuff like that. And like I said, maybe it's just one of them situations where guys, you know, they were hurt or injured, but I'm hurt. So I don't know. Like based on what I've seen and the response after this guy got fired, they did not like this guy. And if you ever played any type of organized sport, man, dudes ain't trying to go out there and trying to jeopardize themselves if they ain't buying into what you actually doing. Man, I know I got a little hamstring injury right here, a little small ankle sprain right here, but I don't know, man. 1 week, I might need 2 weeks. And it doesn't seem like he was really pushing the issue. Like, you know, like Sean Payton, you know, the stories was like when you had players injured, he'll walk past you rolling his eyes and stuff like that, like having guys looking, you know, making them look bad. I don't even think Dennis out like, oh, he hurt. Oh, okay, who's next? Like, okay, you ain't gonna ask me about it. Okay. So I don't know. Don't seem like guys will be too willing to go out there and, you know, they give their all when they out there. Like I said, I do think the guys were injured, but they might be injured. But today I'm hurt. Let's see, TJ, do you think AK was being passive aggressive about that confidence statement? Yeah, I think he was. I look, Alvin Kamara is the type of individual, in my honest opinion, he's one of the most like open, transparent people that I ever seen, like as far as a player. Like he tells you like what's going on. He's open, he's honest, and he doesn't like hold anything back. But I noticed like anytime they ask him about Dennis Allen or the buy-in, he kind of like backs away from it. I ain't touching that subject. And I think by not touching the subject, he touched the subject. Because to me, it just made me say, oh man, like, man, these guys don't believe in this dude. Like they didn't. Like even today, every guy that stood at the podium, Foster Monroe, Tyrann Mathieu, talked about how good of a defensive coordinator and a defensive coach that Dennis Allen was. I didn't hear not one time, man. I thought he was a good head coach. He had us trending in the right direction. Those guys knew that he did not He wasn't it. They knew it. You can like somebody all day, all night, all afternoon, but the reality is if they don't give you anything, like, you got to be real about it. You got to be real about it. Like, I don't know him, but he seemed like a nice human being. He was respectable. You know, he was always like open and, you know, and honest about certain situations based on what the media has said. And yeah, I ain't got nothing against him other than the fact that he screwed up our football team. So, but those guys know that. And I think they're happy. They're happy. I mean, those guys are happy. They happy he's gone. And for like me seeing that just makes me like be more willing to express my frustration. Because for years, when I was saying this stuff, and for months, most recently, because I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of the season, because I'm like, I can't just jump out the window based on some things that I haven't seen. They tried to make some changes, so let's see how this goes. But now that you see it, like, you know, I've been saying it, like, dude ain't it. And I've been saying for months also, like, these dudes ain't responding. They ain't quitting. I mean, they quitting. They want, like, man, look, it's one thing to quit, but it's another thing to hear somebody say that you quit. Like, you can know, like, somebody can really be telling you the truth about yourself, but it's so hard. Like, they can literally, you can literally be doing what they saying that you're doing, but to hear it out loud, it's like, ugh, man, you don't want to admit it, even though you know in your heart that that's the truth. Those dudes quit. They didn't give their all. And a part of me feel like on that last play with Chuba Hubbard, it was like this has to be done type, type touchdown. Go ahead, let him score. For the greater good. For the greater good of his team, let him score. Like, seriously, man. Look, I don't feel bad. Look, for the first time, I know this may sound crazy, but they needed to lose. And a part of me, like, this is the first time I actually am kind of elated that they lost a football game. And it's sad because they literally had to lose this football game in order for change to take place. You lost 6 consecutive games, something you haven't done since 2005, since the city was under the sea. And you still sitting up here parading this man out here like he doing something. But when you lose to the worst team in football, and now as the New Orleans Saints stand, they are the worst team in football. You stand here with the 3rd pick in the draft since Jacksonville lost against Philadelphia. And you're a mere shell of what you used to be. But yet Mickey Loomis sitting up here in a note talking about this guy as an excellent coach. Up here writing a subliminal, a Dennis Allen love letter. We sorry. We love you, Dennis. Nah, bro. Nah, dog. Like, this dude has screwed up the football team. He has these guys looking terrible out there. And like I said, the fact that those guys are, you can tell they're excited about him not being there anymore, makes me even more excited that he ain't there no more. Like I said, as a person, I'm sorry that it is a guy who lost his job, but it was nobody's fault but his own. It had to be done. It had to be done. And I thank the Carolina Panthers for their contribution. I really do. Thank you for your contribution to helping the New Orleans Saints move forward. Because unfortunately, it wouldn't have happened. Unfortunately, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that loss, where they could not hide Dennis Allen's imperfections anymore. They ran out of excuses. They ran out of them. The injuries, Derek Carr not there, the defense ain't had Pete Warner, all these different things. Pete Warner come back, lost. Derek Carr come back, lost. And the crazy thing about it is, while we're on the subject of Derek Carr, the quarterback that was on the team that you first coached, the Oakland Raiders, he was on the team when you got fired. And you went back and got the same guy. You went back and got the same guy that got you fired the first time because because of his quarterback play. I mean, I know he was younger at the time. I think he maybe was a rookie and it was only a few games, but you end up drafting this guy and he was your quarterback then. And then all of a sudden you come back and get him again and he can't help you save your job again. And since we're on the subject of Derek Carr, yes, I am going to say this. Derek Carr is not very good. He's not a very good quarterback. He doesn't elevate anybody around him. He needs too many pieces around him in order for him to succeed. He's an average quarterback at best. And it's just ridiculous that we be having these conversations about this dude. And there was this big controversy about well, before I get into that, let me because that's a subject within itself. I had one more clip I had to play with Darren Rizzy. Darren Rizzy had a message to the fans of New Orleans, and then we'll get into Derek Carr. But this is a message from Darren Rizzy about the frustrations of New Orleans Saints fans, and this is what he said.
Listen, they should be pissed off. I'm pissed off. The fans should be pissed off. The people in New Orleans, the people of Louisiana, no one should be happy. And I think this city deserves a winner. They know what winning football looks like. And, it's our job to bring that back. And my message is this. Here's what I can't promise a lot. I can promise passion. I can promise fight. And I can tell you that team's going to go out there every Sunday. And that's going to be clear that we're going to have a team that's full of passion and a team that's full of fighters. That I can promise you. Now, the football's got to get better. The execution's got to get better. All right, but we're not going to lack. We're not going to lack those two things. We're not going to be boring to watch. I can promise you.
So he said he's going to give it his all, and he understands the frustration of the Saints fans. And in that 49-second clip, that man showed more energy in 49 seconds than Dennis Allen showed in 2.5 seasons. And that is what I feel like has been missing from the New Orleans Saints. And you can tell, like, he really wants this team to perform, and he challenged the fans. And not only did he, I don't say he challenged the fans, but he gave a message to the fans, letting them know that we need you. We want to show you that you are valued. I ain't not in one loss did I see that from Dennis Allen. I heard a bunch of blaming, deflecting. Well, we got a fair share of injuries. Oh, Derek Carr looked sloppy today. The defense couldn't tackle today. All these different things. I ain't never really heard him say that's on me and me alone. It's always, well, it's the coaches, the players, and myself. Dude. And to be quite honest with you, I feel like, I think that money and contracts have a lot to do with the way that the Saints are set up. Like, I feel like there are certain players on this team that may be able to bring something more to the table than others, but they ain't getting on the field because maybe this one person may make more money than them. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. I like Juwan Johnson a lot, but Juwan Johnson has not played good enough for me not to know what Dallin Holker can actually do. I seen Dallin Holker out there a couple times, but once again, that's one of those electric football men who just run around in a circle knowing he ain't going to get the football. Like, let's see what these other guys can do. Let's see what these other players can do. So I don't know, man. Like, you're at a point where you're not going to make the playoffs. So you might as well see what you have. Like, see what you can salvage. See who you probably can actually build around or bring back to your football team in 2025. And you ain't got nothing to lose. If I'm the Saints, I'm going for it on 4th down. I'm kicking 64-yard field goals. I'm throwing 60-yard bombs down the field. I'm doing triple reverses. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm serious. And I really want to see. Like, I really want to see, because if the New Orleans Saints go out there and they play like they hell on fire against the Atlanta Falcons, then we all really know what the hell going on. And what has been going on is the fact that he just didn't want to play for Dennis Allen. If I start seeing these guys flying all over the field, I start to see Chase Young sacking a quarterback. I'm starting to see Carl Granderson getting to the quarterback. I'm seeing these guys getting interceptions. I'm seeing them going for it on fourth down and their own territory. If they're on a 50-yard line, if I'm seeing stuff like that, then guess what? We already know what it is. And I mean, it's no surprise. It's no surprise who that nation. We already know what the deal is. Like, man, we seen this game. It was a bunch of scary plays. Like, it wasn't going to work anyway. Because if you look at the Charger game and if you look at the Carolina Panthers game, you seen a team that was just hella scared. And they were just trying to do everything that they can to win. They weren't trying to be aggressive or anything like that. It was just like they were just being very, very cautious. Like, what is it, fourth down? Let's just kick the field goal. Let's just take the points here. Like, you ain't winning nothing with that. And speaking of not winning anything with that, back to Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr, he was 18 to 31, 230 some odd yards, one touchdown pass. And, everybody was talking about him being injured and stuff like that, him not being 100%. And, the reason why he came back earlier was because of Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, which is the Saints' fault in their own right, because I'm going to continue to say it. The New Orleans Saints wanted to make this team Derek Carr friendly. So they made sure that they got two quarterbacks that couldn't really challenge him for the starting job or make it competitive to a point where it would make Saints fans want to see any other quarterback other than Derek Carr. And the fact that the New Orleans Saints felt that Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler would play so pedestrian that Saints fans would be like, oh, thank God Derek Carr is back. I ain't never felt that way. I never felt that way at all. This may sound crazy. This may sound insane. But I would rather Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler go out there and try their best to play the best quarterback that they possibly can, being young and inexperienced, than to watch a guy who is an 11-year veteran make rookie mistakes. And I'm also going to say this. There was, the big debate was about, him throwing that football to Chris Olave. That was the big debate. That was the big debate. Should he have thrown the football to Chris Olave? Chris Olave ended up getting concussed with the football. We know about Michael Thomas's comments, about, Derek Carr and him, what he said about Derek and him not being very good. So the question was, should he have thrown the football? Okay. I talked to someone that is very, very close to the league. Someone that is very, very talented in his own right. Former Heisman Trophy winner, man. And I talked to him and I asked him a question. I asked him, I said, was that the right decision to throw that pass to Chris Olave? And he responded to me. And if you follow me on Facebook, you know who I'm talking about. But he said to me, it was the right decision, but the ball placement wasn't in the right area. He was supposed to throw the ball closely towards the ground so Chris Olave could protect himself. Him throwing the ball too high, it makes Chris Olave put his hands up in the air and it exposes him, right? Exposes his head, exposes his chest, exposes his lower extremities, all of that, right? So that's what you call a hospital ball. And that's what a lot of quarterbacks called it, which is a hospital ball. So he said it was the right decision because you had cover 3, right? You had a single high safety, right? You had a single high safety, and what Chris Olave, you run like maybe like 8-10-yard posts, right? And you just throw the ball. He was just supposed to, it was the right decision, but he didn't place the ball where it needed to be. So because he didn't place the ball where it needed to be, Chris Olave gets concussed. So Derek Carr did make the right decision in throwing a football, but wasn't in the right place. But you got to be able to protect your wide receiver there, especially when he's the best wide receiver you have. and he has a history of concussions. So there you have it. So it was the right decision with just bad ball placement. Carr $50 million against the cap next year. Let that sink in. That's the kind of trouble Loomis put us in. And then the thing, the thing about it is, you paid $150 million for this guy, $100 million guaranteed for someone that you basically had in two quarterbacks. You could have kept Jameis for cheaper, or you could have kept Andy Dalton for cheaper. And they would have gave you the same level of production and probably would have gave you better production. And you wouldn't have to pay $150 million for him. You could have took those $150 million and got younger on defense. You could have got yourself another wide receiver to go opposite of Chris Olave. You could have got yourself a pass rusher that can go alongside Carl Granderson. You could have did something like that, but instead you bring in Derek Carr. Like, what I didn't understand about the New Orleans Saints, they basically bid against themselves. Like, Derek Carr had no market. There was like only one team that wanted him other than the New Orleans Saints, and that was the Jets. But then we all know that Aaron Rodgers was going to the Jets. So who would you rather have? I know you, like, hindsight is 2020 the way Aaron Rodgers is playing right now, but who would you rather have? Would you rather have a multi-time MVP in Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr? And then they had the Carolina Panthers, who had the first pick in the draft. Why would they pay over $100 million for a quarterback when they can draft the quarterback with the first overall pick in the draft? That made absolutely no sense either. So the Saints basically bid against themselves. They could have easily just said, okay, we're going to give you $15 million a year for 2 years. And what you going to do? Like, if you don't take that, you're going to walk away. Okay, whatever. Ain't nobody was going to sign him. Probably maybe if one of their starting quarterbacks go down, maybe they'll sign him. But they bid against themselves. They wined and dined this dude and gave him $150 million when they didn't even have to. That is one of the main reasons why I'm saying that Mickey Loomis has got to step down. They have injected a losing culture within his organization because they're so afraid of going back to the dark ages of Saints football that they have put us in the dark ages of Saints football. And then another thing, I mentioned Michael Thomas. I mentioned Michael Thomas. I was, everybody's seeing the tweets with Michael Thomas, right? Everybody's seeing them. Everybody heard Michael Thomas and his thoughts and his views on, Derek Carr. There's no love lost between him and Derek Carr. I don't know, man. I think maybe there was something else going on, maybe something internal that he ain't really expounding on, really telling us about. But at the end of the day, he is not a fan of Derek Carr. A lot of people, he feels like Derek Carr is the reason why, he ended up getting that knee injury against Minnesota. And that was the last time we seen Michael Thomas playing in the NFL. And you have some people out there that saying, man, Michael Thomas, man, that's the reason why he ain't in the league no more. That's the reason why he ain't in the league. He ain't in the league no more. Man, he got plenty of time on his hands. I want people to understand this, right? Michael Thomas signed a $100 million contract. He signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. This man is making over $60 million of guaranteed money he made. So this man got over $60 million. Probably more than that if you count his rookie deal. So I'm pretty sure he's probably up there around $65, $70 million he done made, throughout his career. And if you probably count some of those other things that he's done, he probably made more than that. So people are trying to criticize this man and calling him crazy, but there's a lot of things that Michael Thomas has said. They ended up being true. He talked about the medical staff and look at all these soft tissue injuries that have been going on. He was talking about Derek Carr and some of the, the imperfections, and it turned out to be true. Talked about Dennis Allen not really being a good coach, and he's fired today. But nobody seems to like really want to pay that much attention to what Michael Thomas is saying. They don't want to get his man the credit, and he just keep on hitting them out of the park. But it's just the fact, oh, he's on social media doing it. He's on social media doing it. Like, so what? So the freak what? Like, what? Okay, so what do people want? Like, okay, these things are happening, but we don't supposed to say anything about them. And the guy is actually being truthful about everything that he said, but nobody is giving this man credit for being right. They rather sit up here and say, oh, he's tweeting. Oh, he doesn't have a job. He's not working. He doesn't have a job. He has plenty of time on his hands. Dude, this man got more money than all y'all combined. This man can sit up here and talk about anybody that he wants to. He has what you call FU money. And y'all know what the F stand for. That means that he doesn't have to sit up here and toe the line. If he plays football again, fine. If he doesn't, he ain't losing no sleep. I'm pretty sure he is not. Now, you could probably say it from a passionate perspective. Yeah, maybe he wants to be out there again because he loves football. But at the end of the day, if he don't play football again, he good. See, people just want to believe that a person is miserable because, I don't know, because they go out here and they spit some truth from time to time. I'm pretty sure that man is not miserable. I'm pretty sure that he's not miserable. But people like to feel like a person is miserable because what? Because they being telling. And like I said, I mean, it's not like he's lying. Everything that this man has been like critical about, it has turned out to be factual. And we have learned that what he was saying had validity. So if you're going to sit up here and talk about the man ain't got nothing better to do, you also have to take into account what the things that he is saying actually happen. They actually happen. So you can't sit up here and just dismiss the man because, oh, he's a professional football player or a former professional football player. And, like he's saying this stuff on social media. Oh, he's bitter. He's angry. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like we like to sit up here and try to, diagnose people and say all these different things about, oh, they must be this. They must be that. Like, you ever just thought, man, people just kind of fed up with certain things and ain't got nothing to do with, just hating on anybody? I mean, sometimes people just want to tell their truth. Sometimes people just want to speak their mind. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. $50 million, $50 million, $50 million. Let's see. That's so funny. And I heard you. Let's see. Facts and being cheat. Raiders fire Luke Getsy and 2 other coaches. I guess the Saints were like, man, okay, y'all firing coaches, hold my beer. Carr agent is rubbing his hands together like Birdman. Derek Powell, that would wreck his completion percentage. Yeah, man, I don't know what was up. Like, that last play to end the first half, that definitely was some stat padding right there. Homeboy checked it down. Man, going into the half, like, you're supposed to like throw a Hail Mary. This man checking it down to Jordan Mims to let Jordan Mims run. For what? Like, there was no lateral, no nothing. That's why I say, man, self-preservation right there. Self-preservation. Here's the thing. This is what really bothers me about Derek Carr. This is what really bothers me. This guy does this stuff, and you have like these stands up here that just ready and willing to just basically justify any ridiculous bonehead decision that he makes. It's unbelievable. Now, I'm just saying, if you're hurt, before I get into that, If you ever watched the New England Patriot games back in the day, you probably did. But just for the sake of this discussion, I'm just going to use the Patriots for an example. The Patriots had Drew Bledsoe, or it was some other quarterback back in the day. Maybe it wasn't Drew Bledsoe. Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was Drew Bledsoe. And there was times where Drew Bledsoe, he had a nice little arm on him, a little cannon on him, but it wasn't like explosive. Like it wasn't like, like he wasn't just throwing that thing like Patrick Mahomes style. So when they had like plays like the Hail Mary and they had to throw 60, 70-yard passes, they will send in Michael Bishop. Michael Bishop was a really talented quarterback. He came out of Kansas State, was a Heisman Trophy candidate. I actually liked Michael Bishop when he was in college. And they would bring him out there. Or for all you LSU fans out there, they would send out Rohan Davey. And they would have him throw a Hail Mary. Because y'all know Rohan had an arm, man. But anyway, they would send somebody else out. Now, if you were dealing with an oblique injury, if you don't feel like you can get the ball down the field, how about asking the coaches, man, I don't know if I can get it down there, man. We're just still dealing with this injury. You think you can, maybe we can put Spencer Rattler in, or maybe we can put Jake down there for them to throw the ball down the field. There was no need. You call a timeout to check it down to Jordan Mims. I'm going to say that again. You call a timeout for you to check it down to Jordan Mims. If you can't throw the ball down the field, you call a timeout like you did. You send Spencer Rattler out there, and you let him throw the Hail Mary down the field. But why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Makes sense to me. Paper Bag Saints, I would have never thought that this year. Yeah. I'm going to miss that song. Yeah. Well, I ain't going to miss it enough. Not enough to keep on hearing it. If that means that some change is going to take place. Allow me to address this, TJ and Who That Nation, but I hope Trump wins tomorrow night. Look, man, look, whoever you vote for, whoever you voted for, that's fine, man. But I'm not touching that subject, man. Whoever you feel like when, go out there and vote, but man, I'm not touching that. Nah, I ain't touching that. Let's see. I must be on the other side of Saints fans. I haven't met anyone that liked Carr or was excited about him being hired. I seen this young kid I was sitting next to at the game. He was just so excited. He was like, come on. He's like, come on, Derek Carr, you can do it. I'm looking at this man, nodding my head. I'm like, this poor little kid, not knowing what's about to happen, about to just get his heart completely ripped out, cheering for a guy that can't deliver. He can deliver with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, but you're going to throw a fade route on 4th and 4 to Cedric Wilson. Even though Cedric Wilson, I must say, Cedric Wilson played much better in this game than he has played in other games, but he only had about 33 yards. So that's not saying a lot, but I'm just saying, like, you have all those other guys out there, AK on the check down, Juwan Johnson in the middle. You just seen Foster Moreau make one hell of a touchdown catch, and you're going to go on a fade to Cedric Wilson. The only reason why he's doing this is because he's trying to get a PI penalty instead of you trying to get 4 yards. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. There was a lot of mistakes in that game. And I got to say this too, man. I love Alvin Kamara, but I got to say it. Alvin Kamara stepping out of bounds with a little bit, with about 3 minutes and some change left on the clock. That wasn't a smart decision either. That wasn't the smartest decision to help, because if you would have stayed in bounds, you probably would have ended up punting the ball to him a little bit under 2 minutes. Now, I don't feel like that would have helped. Probably would have just gave you a less opportunity to go down there and score. But, I mean, you got to be able to make those type of decisions, which, in hindsight, I don't think too many guys upset that they actually stepped out of bounds, but if we're for football purposes, you shouldn't have stepped out of bounds. So I kept doing what I'm doing, and I got fired too. AS says I'm voting for Gayle Benson. I think a lot of Gayle Benson support has been made today, especially like since everybody kind of seen her operate the way that she has. So this season was screwed when we ran it back with Carr and Allen. It's still mind-boggling that AK isn't a captain. Yeah, I know, right? Fact, TJ, a lot of Saints fans would rather hear the truth only if it comes from certain people. There aren't sheep. They're all sheep. Yeah, look, man. Look, I'm not trying to knock anybody, man. I understand that. Like, I can approach and say certain things about the team because I'm not really on the ground, right? I can kind of say those things, but those guys, got to operate a little bit differently, man. I can understand that. I get it, but I don't get it because a part of me feels like I joke around and stuff like that, but for the most part, like I feel like my commentary is justified. Like I do, like, but at the same time, I understand that some people they want the little fluff and all that kind of stuff there, and and also people have a job to do. They can't approach it in a certain way, and I can respect that. Like I can respect it, So there it is, right there. I can respect that, man. I can respect people that's out there working really hard, dedicating themselves to this football team, doing their job, man. I mean, as far as but I just feel like you should never sell the people out for anything, like for access, for interview or anything like that. I can't do it, man. Like I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And I don't feel like it's a coincidence that I decided to stay true to myself. And that's when things like really start happening for me. Like it was like if I felt like for a good little minute, I would probably say around 2021, something like that. I felt like I wasn't putting forth my best work because I felt like I was caring a lot more about what people think about me that, from the outside. But now it's like, I don't care. It's rather, you're going to accept me for who I am or you're not. But I'm just going to be completely honest about how I feel about what's going on. And, I'm going to question certain things. It may not be exactly the way that it is, but I go off body language. I go off interviews. I go off the way that, the game and the ebbs and flows of the game. That's how I build my opinions and my assessment of situations. The Trader Playbook says, Mike T says what all Saints fans feel, yet media hating. Yeah, I don't understand that, man. I don't understand that. I was watching, I'm not going to call out a name, but I was watching somebody the other day and they were just like, taking little shots at, at Michael Thomas and like, oh, he ain't got nothing better to do. No, I'm not talking about Matt Moscone. I'm not talking about Matt. Talking about somebody else, man. But it just seems like it just seems like, like I don't know, man. I don't think I just take it. I don't think that he's bitter. I just don't. I don't think that Michael Thomas is sitting somewhere mad at the world that he's not playing football. I just don't. I think that he if the opportunity presents itself, fine. But if it doesn't, I think he's okay with it. He doesn't strike me as a person that just, just mad at life. You just don't. And to be honest with you, if you check like his Twitter, like he's not like he doesn't really tweet like that. Like most of the time he tweets it'd be like on Sunday during Saints games. It's not like he just going out here like just off the wall tweeting. Like he's probably watching the Saints games like we do. And then on top of that, like this is a team that he was drafted by, like was inside of the locker room. Like, like, man, did a lot of great things for the New Orleans Saints. So I don't know. Like, man, watching TV just like us. Nobody addresses Carr due to the changes starting today, but watch Carr play better or bench upcoming. Go get Joe Brady as next head coach. If I don't know, man. I don't know. I ain't trying to hire nobody just because they got some Louisiana ties. I ain't trying to hire somebody because they black. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it a buck. If you have LSU ties, you can coach. You like, by all means hire him. If you black and you can coach your tail off and be a leader of men, you can hire him. It's just that plain and simple, man. Like, I don't want this to, like, I want the Saints to get the best coach possible. I don't care if they black, white, blue like Skeeter Valentine. I do not care. As long as they can coach and be a leader of men, and they can be able to make necessary adjustments, and they can put a coaching staff around them that can put together a team that shows heart and passion and grit and don't give up. I'm cool. I'm cool with it. I'm serious. I am cool with it. There are times where, I feel like there are certain guys, that are all right for the job. But if they just so happen to be African American, that's not the sole reason why. I don't like, to me, it does not matter to me. I just want a coach that can lead men. I just want a coach that's going to get us out of this situation. Yeah, I mean, borrow that too. I don't care. Look, they can make history. It can be a female too. If she can coach, I'm cool with that. I ain't got no problem. I just want the Saints to be successful. I just want the Saints to win football games. I just want the Saints to be competitive. I just want to be able to sit down on Sunday afternoons and watch my football team. They ain't got to win every game because that's just wishful thinking. But if they go out there and they fight hard and they scratch and they bite and they claw, they wait a victory, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Like, just show me something that you actually like. When the Saints had Drew Brees, they lost football games. But, it hurt more when they lost those football games because you anticipated going into the game that they were going to win. Now it's like you don't have, like, I had no emotional investment in this football team watching them. That was the sad part. I would get behind this microphone for the last few weeks and just sit here and just do this because I love talking with you all. I love interacting with you all. And that was basically it. Like, this is the highlight of 2024 for me. And I'm not saying this and I'm not just sugarcoating it. This is a highlight for me because I get opportunity to talk to y'all, to interact with y'all. Y'all make this worth like watching. Y'all make this worth investing time in. Because, I mean, it is unwatchable. It's unwatchable. It is unwatchable. And it hurts my heart to watch a team that I have loved my entire life. They have shown me that they can actually generate results, and they haven't generated those results. It just frustrated. Corey said, TJ, you drove 2 hours to give yourself a headache. Couldn't have did that on your couch. Well, let me tell you something, Corey. I did not drive 2 hours. I drove 3 hours, and that wasn't one of the main reasons I was there. I actually had a really good time. We ended up going to Concord, North Carolina, stayed at the Grey Wolf Lodge. Well, my wife and my son, and, being able to, go to the indoor water park with my son and, watching him like dance with the other kids and stuff like that, with all those kid interactive activities made me smile. That was worth it. Like that to me was, that was the highlight of my trip. And my wife, like I said, my wife gifted me those tickets, to go to the football game. So while they were there, I Ubered to the game and checked it out. Around the fourth quarter, I left, went back, did the Bleacher Report, did the State of the Saints. And after I was done, went right back to, went to the arcade, went play a little laser tag, virtual reality with my son and my wife. I mean, sure, I had a good time. Shoot. So that was the highlight of my weekend. Had nothing to do, had nothing to do with that. I mean, when I left in the fourth quarter, I already knew it was up. I know that sounds crazy, but when I said, man, when I seen them kick them 2 field goals, I said, they keeping them around. I said, they're instilling hope. I already knew. It did not surprise me at all. Yeah, it did not surprise me at all. When I seen them 2 field goals, I said, they keeping them around. They're instilling hope in these boys. And then when Bryce Young threw that touchdown pass to Xavier Legette, I said, I already knew what it was. Left the stadium, started the fourth quarter, caught the Uber back, watched it as I was in the Uber. By the time I got back to the hotel, the Saints laid an egg, and I was ready to talk. And like I said, after I was done, went right back to hanging out with my family. Had a really good time that evening. For real, Bobby Bell be wasting media equipment because he don't be talking about nothing. Look, man, Bobby Bell, legend, man. In the Saints world. But at the same time, like I've been saying this, and I'm gonna continue to say it. They need a little bit of a shot in the arm. Yeah, WWL a little bit. I would love to work for WWL. I really would. That would be like a dream come true. That would be a dream come true for me to work for WWL. And I'll be just like Darren Rizzy. I guarantee you this. It wouldn't be boring. It wouldn't be boring if I was on WWL. I can tell you that right now. It would not be boring. And, I do have, radio experience, of course. But, yeah, I do think they need – look, it ain't even got to be me. I just feel like they just need a little bit more of a shot in the arm. That would be a dream come true for me to work for WWL. WWL, if I could work for WWL radio, I guarantee you, if we could bring the State of the Saints to WWL, we would not be boring. I can tell you that right now. It's hard to believe Mike T only player who disliked Carr. I don't think that, man. I know that ain't true. I know for a fact that ain't true. I already told y'all. I went to the NFL Combine a couple of years ago, and I remember I was walking around. There's a hotel connected to the convention center, and I'm just walking around. And I just see a group of Raider coaches, like just sitting there, congregating, talking. And I just sit in a chair, like kind of like, next to him or whatever. It was around lunchtime. And I had my State of the Saints hat on. They read it. It was like, you with the Saints? And I said, yeah. I said, a couple of Saints. I said, I'm here with Combine. He was like, yeah, y'all getting Carr, huh? I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, they're getting Derek Carr. And he kind of snickered a little bit. And it's like, I said, what? I said, why are you still laughing? He's like, you'll see. That's all he said to me. He's like, you'll see. And, I was like, I just kind of, laughed it off a little bit. Couple of years later, I think I see what he's talking about. It was an African-American gentleman. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I could tell you the place I was next to. I could tell you the color of the chair. I'm telling you, like, the guy told me he snickered. I asked him what's funny, and he said, you'll see. That's what he said. Chase Young has been a bust. Chase Young got a sack, and it didn't even count. Got a sack on a 2-point. Look, first off, I feel like this. I feel like this. I feel like the 2-point conversion, it should be accounted as a stat line. If you make the tackle, it should count towards your stats. If you get a sack, it should account towards your stats. That's something that the NFL needs to implement, because Chase Young did get a sack, but it didn't count. It was like a play like that. That's so weird that unless you block the kick, that's the only stat that really truly counts. They don't count the tackle or interception or a sack. I feel like they need to add that to the person's statistics. So if the NFL, if anybody in the NFL, if you're watching this, I feel like that should be a statistic if you make a tackle on a 2-point conversion or a sack on a 2-point conversion or interception on a 2-point conversion. Should count as an interception, a sack, or a tackle. I said, sorry for your loss. Chase Young looks so good in his uniform to be as horrible as he has been. Yeah, man, like that guy's physically imposing, like you see him in person. And Colin Sanders, man, like Colin Sanders about as wide as a TV, man. He's short and he like, man, it's just a big, like huge, huge, like 300-pound guy, man. It's just it's funny to see somebody that heavy and short at the same time. But it oh man, but yeah, but Chase Young, man, man, those guys, man, they look physically imposing out there on the field. TJ for WWL Media Personality 2025. I wish. I'm telling y'all, like Darren Rizzy say, if I was ever work for WWL, one thing that we will never be is boring. We will never be boring. Mike McCarthy may be available next season. He's from the outside. What you think? Mike McCarthy. I like Mike McCarthy, but I'm gonna have to hit it with I feel like, Mike McCarthy, the pressure that he's under being the Dallas Cowboy head coach. I feel like, Jerry Jones being instrumental in that. I do feel like maybe that, that plays a role, but nah, I don't think so. Now, I will say this. I wouldn't mind Mike McCarthy like being a part of your staff somehow. I wouldn't mind him being a part of your staff, but being like the head coach, no. Nah, per James Hurst, once DA threw his players under the bus for scoring a touchdown and putting a riff for all the players. I agree with that. That was the first big mistake that he made. The highlight of my weekend was the Hot Boys reunion. Yeah, Tiff. Shouts out to him. That's why I got my hold on. Let me put this out. That's why I got a rep. Because your boy got on that Hot Boy Baller Block t-shirt. Yes, sir. Shouts out to the Hot Boys out there, man. Shouts out to the Hot Boys. Yeah, man. The Hot Boys reunion this weekend. Yeah, man, that was good to see. I mean, I'm glad that BG and Turk, they got it together enough to give us that moment, and Birdman too. I know he had some beef with Turk, but Wayne, Wayne put that all together, man. So shouts out to him, and it was good to see, man. It was good to see those guys together. Hopefully, they can actually, kind of go tour or do something together. Let's see, but no Wayne. The block is hot. Let's see. I hope we don't become like the Raiders last year and hire the interim. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. But I would love to see Darren Rizzy like help this football team like gain some confidence in themselves. Let's see. Notice how Carr doesn't take accountability like DA. I mean, look, I'm just not I'm just as a person, Derek Carr seemed like a really good person. God-fearing man, family man. I respect that. Being a God-fearing family man myself, I like to pride myself as being one. But I don't know. I think it's one of those situations where it's like watching a movie and you have an emotional investment in a character. That character may be nice and kind and sweet, and now you find yourself like, let's just say a series like The Walking Dead, for example, right? You watch The Walking Dead and you become emotionally invested in a character, and then that character end up getting eaten by zombies, and next thing you know, rest in peace. Oh man, I can't believe they killed them off. They killed them off. Like, that was one of my favorite characters. They shouldn't have done that. I feel like it's the same way with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a God-fearing guy, Bible-toting, having prayer meeting, speaking meeting, first giving honor to God, the great head of my life type guy. And people just become invested in him because of his personality. And they can't separate the two because they like his characteristics and the way that he carries himself. Now you want him to succeed on a football field. So now it's to the point where don't talk about my quarterback like that. It's y'all fault, not his. My thing is, if you've been in the league for 11 seasons and you've been playing like that, very pedestrian, team, like your team not getting no better because of you. You need everything to be perfect. The stars have got to be aligned in order for you to succeed. All of a sudden, like, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? But I have to acknowledge BetUS once again. I want to thank the fine folks at BetUS. This show is powered by BetUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit, 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Just go ahead and use the promo code YouTube 150. Shouts out to the fine folks at BetUS. But yeah, I think that plays a huge role in how people think about old Derek Carr. But I don't think he's good. The Saints aren't going to win anything with him. Just like Dennis Allen. Like, it's just something about him, man. It just some guys are winners and some guys are just losers. Like, I'm just like not in life. I'm just talking about like from a competitive standpoint. Some guys are just losers. Like, no matter what they do, they're just gonna lose. Like like Dennis Allen. Like Dennis Allen is a loser. Like, seriously. Like, as a coach, he can do it. He's one of those people that they can do whatever they can. They can try as hard as they can, and they still gonna lose. It's like that movie Real Steel with Hugh Jackman on there. He was the guy. He was a robot. They had the robots that were boxing and fighting and stuff like that. And then you had Anthony Mackie. He wanted to get money from him, and he was talking to him, and it was hitting it off, and they were smiling and stuff like that. Hugh Jackman thought he was gonna get some money out of him. He said, "Hey man, look, I'm sorry, but I can't give you no money, man." He said, "No disrespect, you're a bad bet, brother." Like that's how I feel about, like, yeah, bro. Like, I like you, you cool. I mean, you professional, but you're just a bad bet. Like, you ain't gonna win nothing with that. Like, and it's no fault. Like, I look, he can just try as hard as he can. Because I really, like, sitting up here, I really feel like Dennis Allen tried everything that he can to be the best coach he can possibly be for the Saints. But he just not good. He is just not a good coach. He's just not a good coach. It takes more than just knowing X's and O's to be a coach. It takes more than just X's and O's to be a leader of men. Like, that is why, like, if you ever like read history books or see people with leadership qualities, it's just so fascinating to watch, because it's like they command a room. It's like, man, I don't know about this brother, but man, he talking, you know what I'm saying? He talking a good game. It's like you see it. They ooze charisma. They ooze confidence. And it's like something about them that just makes you like gravitate to him. Dennis Allen ain't that. Dennis Allen is the guy that, once again, he gonna have his grass cut. He gonna weed eat that thing. Hedges ain't gonna be too high. He ain't gonna be the guy like, like the neighbor from hell, like the neighbor that never cut his grass, the neighbor that never washed out his trash can, the neighbor that, like, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. He's not gonna be that. He's going to be the neighbor that is a pleasure to stay next door to him, because they just always going to do the right thing. He ain't going to rattle the cage. He ain't going to come knock on your door talking about your music too loud. He's the type of person that probably, buy like some insulated curtains in order for him not to hear the music at all. Like, he's not that type of person. He doesn't strike me as a confrontational person. It seems like he's shy away from that. There are times where I just want to see this guy like, man, blow your top. Like, you see all these flags that y'all getting? Like, how about blowing your top, man? Like, challenging the referees. How about, oh, man, like, how about throwing a challenge flag with some confidence or something? Like, he's just not a leader. He's a well put together coach when it comes to understanding defensive philosophies. And it's like, okay, this is what I need from you, Dennis. I need you to come up with a really good game plan to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday, okay? This is what I need from you, okay? I need you to understand Baker Mayfield. I need you to understand his tendencies and come up with a really good game plan. He got you. He got you. He'll do it. And the next place he goes and he becomes a defensive coordinator, that defense is going to be really, really good. Because he's really good as defensive coordinator when he is just focusing solely on defense. The problem was, here's an issue. On top of the fact that the guys really didn't checked out on him, he was stretched too far. He was stretched too far. And he started to make mistakes and he started to feel the pressure. And because you start feeling the pressure, you became outside of your position. And when you became outside of your position, that's when things started to unravel. Because you started to be something that you wasn't. So there's that. The defense sucks, remember? Jerome, it has nothing to do with it. Jerome, let me give you an example. I don't know what you do for a living, brother, but for the sake of argument, I'll just say that you are a organizer. I don't know, like a electricity or something like that. Okay, your job is to make sure in this 20-mile radius right here that the electricity in this 20-mile radius is running effectively. And you've been doing this for a long time. And every time they come in, man, Jerome, outstanding job, man. We don't never have no problem with Jerome, man. You all right, man. You all right. You know, Jerome, and then somebody comes to you one day and say, you know what, Jerome, you've been doing this for a 20-mile radius. I need you to do it for a 120-mile radius now. That's what I need you to do. Now it's like, okay, I have become programmed to focus on this 20-mile radius. Now they gave me an extra 100 miles to deal with. Now it's like, okay, how do I do this? And it may not be as effective as you did operating that 20-mile radius. Why? Because it's kind of stretching you a little bit then. When you have a responsibility and you've grown accustomed to said responsibility, you're going to do it to the best of your ability. But if somebody takes you away from that and wants you to do something else, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So that's all I'm saying. He was coaching defense. All he had to do was focus on defense. Eat, sleep, breathe defense. That's all he had to do. But when you have to eat, sleep, breathe defense, organize the defense, make sure that you got a head in the special teams, in the offense, defensive backs, linebackers, defensive ends, running backs. That's hard. So I'm just telling you, like, whatever team he goes to and coaches defense, and to be honest with you, would not surprise me at all. And some of y'all may not want to hear it. Would not surprise me at all if he be the defensive coordinator next year of the Atlanta Falcons. Would not surprise me at all. Would not surprise me at all because they're not happy with their defensive coordinator. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. He already apologized to the Falcon organization, so he should feel right at home. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he goes back there to try to be petty and try to, coach up a game plan to try to neutralize anything the Saints do. But he's going to be good at it because he's a good defensive coordinator when he's focusing solely on defense. I agree, Irvin. DA won't even be an interim head coach again. Nah, he won't. His coaching day is over. He's like Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo can always have a defensive job, but they'll never have him as a head coach anymore. He will feel at home. Falcons unhappy with Nielsen. Now, Nielsen not the defensive coordinator. Ryan Nielsen in Jacksonville. They got Jimmy Lake. He came from the University of Washington. And, they're not really happy with that. So might have Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator next year. Wouldn't surprise me at all. DA had a shot to redeem himself as a head coach after he failed tenure in Oakland. His head coaching days are long gone now. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he ends up becoming a defense. Because you gotta look at the fact Terry Fontenot is the general manager. So that Saints ties right there. they already had Ryan Nielsen there that he hired, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that they end up hiring Dennis Allen as the head defensive coordinator, I should say. So don't be surprised if that happens. I'm just putting it out there. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I know we went a little bit longer, but I feel like it was justified based on the state of the Saints, no pun intended. But thank you all for staying here with me. Shouts out to everybody that's here. Shouts out to all of the people that commented, people that donated to the show. Really do appreciate you all as well. And we've been talking about different songs that we no longer can play anymore, right? I mean, it's been a wild ride, man. We've made over almost 20 songs about the New Orleans Saints and the ineptitude due to Dennis Allen as the head coach. Now, this one right here, this is one of my favorites right here. Wrote about 10 months ago after a loss to the Los Angeles Rams. I titled it, What's His Name? Enjoy.
Who that nation from the East Coast to the West Coast? We need to let the Saints organization know. Tell them boys what we want. We want DA. Tell them boys what we want. We want DA.
From the depths of our soul, everybody knows the head coach, Dennis Allen, that's got to go. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here. The recent loss to the Rams kind of made that clear. Follow me, this is making me sick. Got a coaching record of 22-46. It's like that as a matter.
Whoa, I forgot, okay? I got to mention, previous episodes available on YouTube, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8, and also check out the NFC South Roundtable every Tuesday on the YouTube channel. Search NFC South Roundtable, 7 p.m. Eastern, talking NFC South along with my guys Smitty, Clay, and James, representatives of the Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Carolina Panthers. I guarantee you will not want to miss tomorrow's show. Now let's get back to it from the top. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Who that nation from the East Coast to the West Coast? We need to let the Saints organization know. Tell them boys what we want. We want DA. Tell them boys what we want. We want DA.
From the depths of our soul, everybody knows the head coach, Dennis Allen, that's got to go. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here. The recent loss to the Rams kind of made that clear. Follow me, this is making me sick. Got a coaching record of 22-46. It's like that as a matter of fact. Rat-a-tat-tat.
Nicky gotta be insane if he run this thing back.
Yeah, check out the manuscript. As a head coach, Dennis ain't
Tell the
big.
Saints what we want. We want DA. Tell the Saints what we want. We want DA. Da, 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 da. Hey, we want him down.
Your mama.